Morning Joe 200, summer 2019, and today's lecture is about cancer. Again, one of the non-communicable diseases that we talked about in class that are kind of go hand in hand with life extension. These are age-related diseases, and yeah, I want you guys to also think about the burden that it is in terms of caregiving, also the financial burden for the individual and society. And this kind of goes back to what I'm going to do here is I'm going to remind you of the readings that we did that discusses this. Okay, so it was the second module, and we scoot down here again. It was from this really amazing publication of why population aging matters. And as you can see right here, they talk about the growing burden of non-communicable disease. And I've highlighted it right here. This was the chapter. Okay. I'm not going to go into any more detail on that, but it's just a way to reflect back on what you've already learned. Okay, so as you can see, it's a very clinical setting behind me, and we are going to be discussing one of the major communicable diseases. Sorry, I'm going to go back to non-communicable diseases, and that is cancer. Sorry. And so, what your assignment is to do this week is to get in here and familiarize yourself with some of the statistics. Okay, and beyond that, what we really want you to do is to familiarize yourself with the concept of cancer. And so, one of the really most informed websites is the one right here that is provided by the National Cancer Institute. And so I encourage you to navigate this and learn on your own. All right, so now the basics to the website. Um, First of all, in terms of cancers, it's a very personal thing, and the statistics are kind of mind-blowing that one out of every two men and one out of every three women get cancer in their lifetime. I'm sure a lot of you have had friends or family members that have gotten cancer, so you've been affected directly by this. And this right here shows you the uh, amazing number of cancers that exist. Okay, there's over 100 different types of cancers, and every cancer is different, and so every treatment approach is different when you look at cancers. Um, yeah, again, if you are impacted by this, you can see how daunting a task this is for the individual, also clinically. So that's what I looked at when I clicked here. You can find the cancer. Each of these is a reading that will describe for you, like what is cancer. You click on that and you just kind of read through it. And we provided these readings as well separately. But it gives you a real clean description of there's two different types of categories that are genes. There are many different types of cancers. There are solid cancers. There are blood cancers. Um, there's a melanoma, which is skin cancer. There's the carcinoma, which is a category. So all these different types of categories. So familiarize yourself with this. You can look into causes and preventions. You can look into diagnosis and staging. Um, Find out about things like clinical trials, super important. In fact, I'm going to be sending you an article that your co-instructor, Julia Walsh, wrote, um, all about being in a clinical trial. We are actually at UC San Diego Moores Cancer Institute right now as I am speaking. I'm going to talk to Julia here in a second, interview her. There she is. Okay. She's here actually for an infusion, and so you can see she's all set up. Okay. And this is the day before Memorial Day. Okay. I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to talk a little bit more to make sure that you're on board with what it is you should be doing for the class. Okay. So you can go in here and you can look at the cancer statistics on your own. Okay. And scroll down and get information. But what we really want you to do is to go back over here and look at all the different types of rates that are posted in these images that we've posted. Okay, so we can look at child survival rates. You can look at survival rates of a number of cancers right here, based on ethnicity. Okay, and you can see the changes that are going on right here. Okay, from 1975 to 1977, and then a major amount of statistics about 2006 to 2012. And you can just kind of look and scroll through and choose your cancer. You can see it's divided up by all races, the white race and the black race. Okay, so and we can look in a little closer detail at some averages right here, and that's what this is all about. Okay, so we can look again, and we see that there is a disparity. Okay, and it's just disparity by race. It's a disparity by socioeconomics in terms of survival rates. You see that the black population has a lower survival rate than the white population. You see there's been dramatic improvements on each part when you compare this right here to this dates right there. All right. So from this, the quiz questions are going to be obtained from these graphics. The thing we want you to learn is, again, you can go ahead and blow this up and read it about what cancer is all about. Watch this video; it's going to describe the different types of genes, and then we produce a little graphic down here for you to look at. And with this graphic, it's really looking at the two major categories of genetic problems. Now you have to understand that cancer is a combination of genetics and environmental exposure to things that will cause mutations in your genes. Viruses can cause mutations. You can be exposed to heavy metals. You can be exposed to carcinogenic agents. There was a big lawsuit recently that was won by a couple of patients against Monsanto for Roundup, and the jury found that Monsanto was responsible for the leukemia that these patients had, and it was $1 billion lawsuit because of the mutagenic chemicals. So when we say mutations, then you have two different categories. We have these normal genes called a proto-oncogene, okay? And what it is, it's just we're constantly producing new cells. So it's a gas pedal to make new cells, and you're constantly making new kidney cells, new gastrointestinal cells, new skin cells, making new blood cells all the time, um, and then we have another type of gene, okay, and this is called a tumor suppressor gene, and that usually puts the brakes on the growth pattern. So it's a combination of grow, 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 let's stop growing, grow, 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 let's stop growing. And if you lose the brake potential, then again you have unlimited growth potential. And you see that either way, if you have too much oncogene, too little suppressor gene, or usually it's a combination of all the above. Cancers oftentimes have multiple mutations. Then you have this problem. Okay, so when we come back up here and we again go back to the National Cancer Institute website, and we look at the types of cancers that are in here, and we see leukemias. Okay, alrighty, and there are four major types of leukemias. We see that there are a lot of subcategories right here, all these different types of leukemias, and so this is where I'm going to refer back to your call. So, what type of cancer do you have?
So I have chronic lymphocytic leukemia, which is also considered part of both a leukemia and a lymphoma. So it's considered a non-Hodgkin lymphoma as well as a leukemia.
All right, all right. And when were you diagnosed?
6 years ago
6 years.
in June.
All right. So how did you know?
Well, my presentation was very unique. I had a colonoscopy, and in a biopsy, they found the lymphoma type cells, and it's very, very unusual. Usually, people with my condition are diagnosed through a routine visit to a doctor. They get blood work and a checkup, and they find that their white cell count is high, and they're sent for a follow-up. And with additional tests, they use flow cytometry. They use something called FISH testing. They can determine by the proteins that are on the surface of the white blood cell if it's CLL or something else.
So when you were diagnosed, the routine readout of the progression of the cancer is your blood. So what was happening with your white blood cells as as the 5 year progression happened?
So what happened to me, two things. My particular subflavor of this leukemia presents both in my lymph nodes and in my blood. So my white count was increasing steadily, just kind of marching forward, and my lymph nodes were getting bigger all over my body. So I would have, when I would see the doctor, he would check under my in my armpits, in my neck, in my groin, and those are areas that are easily accessible by a physician to really measure. So you don't need to get constant CT scans or things like that. So they were able to say, okay, through blood work, we can see that your white cell count's going up. Your absolute lymphocyte count is what they really track, and we can also see that your lymph nodes are growing.
Yeah. So when you talk about white blood cell count with leukemia, normally you're going to have about 3 to 4 thousand of these white blood cells in your blood, and your white blood cells are your immune system cells that are fighting infections. Okay. But as hers um, became cancerous, and the white blood cells that were being produced, the lymphocytes you talked about, they no longer are infection fighting um, the so she went from 3,000, which is what you and I have, to almost 3,000 cells in her blood, and they were cancerous. These cells were produced in her bone marrow, and she was about 60% cancerous bone marrow. And so she started clinical trial about 2.5 years ago, and going back to the concept of breaks and oncogenes and things like that. We she was using antibodies that these cells that were cancerous, and now she's on a drug that is essentially a drug that inhibits the gas pedal. It inhibits it from accelerating the growth. And you've been on that drug for what?
2.5 years.
2.5 years.
And
Yeah.
this is a part of this wave of new cancer treatments. It's an oral medication. I take it home once a day. It's very easily tolerated with pretty minor side effects. So it's a great advance that was just approved within the last 5 years, and I'm part of a clinical trial that's combining that drug with a second drug to see if there's kind of a synergistic effect, and if maybe we'll get an even better result when we combine the antibody treatment, the immunotherapy treatment, plus the targeted oral inhibitor.
So we're going to include in this email an article, a short article that Julia wrote for the Chronic Lymphocytic Leukemia Society about what it's like to be a patient. It was really well done.
And I do encourage all cancer patients, especially adult cancer patients, tend to not go into clinical trials because they think it's going to be too expensive. They think it's going to be too hard. That they don't trust the treatment. But you do get very, very good treatment. You're followed very closely. You get the latest and greatest stuff, and hopefully get really good results.
Awesome. Okay, so I think that's the most part. That's it. We have our. Would you like to be in the class? Okay. So this is our nurse, right? And she is helping today with the infusion, and we are infusing since the cancer drugs actually um, they reduce the cancer, they reduce all of immune function, and so lymphocyte function. So she is infusing antibodies right now because Julia's not producing enough antibodies. And once a month, she gets these antibodies. Um, Going back to the cost of non-communicable disease, what's the cost per bag of IVIG?
It's about $15,000.
$15,000, my friend.
We have good insurance through USC.
Yeah.
Thank you, USC.
Yeah.
And for people who give blood, I'm one of the people who benefit because they take this product from, say, 20,000 people and pool the product, and then they split it up and give it to cancer patients like me. So if you give blood, thank you.
Her blood pressure is good right now, and you monitor that throughout the infusion because you can have a reaction. Okay. And I forgot what her name was. Brenda. So that's Brenda. Brenda's a saint, and Julie's a hero for being in a clinical trial. So anyway, so we're pretty close to being done with this today. Um, We also have a discussion this week, okay, and we kind of make this open to you guys. This is a discussion about, unfortunately, piggybacking on a discussion of cancer. It's our lecture about death and dying and how people deal with this. And you go through these different phases of grief, not only when somebody dies, but when Julia was diagnosed in cancer, we were in shock and went through all the different phases of grief. And if you're open to this, watch these videos and then discuss your own experience. If not, there's an alternative assignment that you can do as well. All right. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to end here, and I wish you guys a great end of. Actually, when I post this, the Memorial Day weekend will be over, but hopefully you had a great one, and we'll see you next time.